everybody, and welcome to Generally Speaking, the podcast that bridges the worlds of pop culture and personal development. I'm your host, Jennifer Snook. I am so happy to be here with you today. I hope everything has been going well in your world. There is so much just going on in the world. But before we get into it, if you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure you reach out and hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on your favorite streaming platform, please make sure you give us a follow. Okay, guys, let's get Christy on the line because, like I said, there is a lot happening.
Hi, my Jen.
You have a different background today.
I do. I'm house sitting, dog sitting at my bestie's. So she has a real office.
Oh, I love it. That's great. And your hair looks amazing.
No, this is go to sleep and wake up.
Well, I'm into it. Did your hair always have that much curl in it?
I don't think it did. I think, when we were younger, we got our perms.
Of course we did. How many perms? How many perms do you think you had just throughout high school?
Maybe 5, 4. No. Why would you get one once? How long do they last?
I feel like I had 5 a year. My hair didn't hold them. I had so many perms. It was like perms.
And we all looked the same with this poof and then this. But listen to me. Did Gilbert do them at Hair Junction?
Yes, Gil did my hair for the longest time.
Remember he was the football coach.
So yes.
I have the rollers in my hair that are this big all over the head with a shower cap. Paul Giacalone comes in to talk to Gilbert and I want to die.
Wait a minute. Exactly. Well,
I always say,
wait a minute. I need you to back the fuck up. Why was Paul
I
want to know. This actually strikes a very personal chord for me. Why was Paul talking to Gil?
This was Jen's boyfriend, her first love. Was it your first love?
Okay, now we're getting too personal, but why was Paul talking to Gil?
Gil was the football coach.
I know that, but what year was this?
Maybe our sophomore or junior year. And I'm going to ask him at our class reunion because every time I say the story, it's Paul Giacalone. And I just wanted to die.
What do you mean every time you tell the story?
Like when I say the story about when I used to get perms and the football coach was the hairdresser. Paul.
I want to know do you remember anything about the vibe what else do you remember? That's it?
Yeah. That I wanted to die and Paul Giacalone, because Paul Giacalone came in and I have a perm rod, head cap, shower cap over the rollers.
Because I do know that I believe there may have been a confrontation maybe at some point.
I know what you're talking about. And oh my God. Oh my God. Well, maybe it was happening and I was in my own head with my own fucking bullshit. And Paul's over there with his bullshit. The Gil.
Maybe at the reunion you don't bring that up.
That is amazing.
Maybe at the reunion you just don't bring that up.
I will not. Noted.
Anyway.
Hilarious. Wow.
Anyway. So okay,
let's
hard left. Did you watch the Super Bowl?
Of course I did.
I know. Did you win any money?
I did not, but my buddy won $950 on my pool. He won 2 separate squares.
Oh, how much were your squares?
20 each. And he bought.
I know. Have I ever bought one of those squares? Mike has, huh?
Yeah, it's fun. But the Super Bowl, what a great day. What a great game.
I know. But I mean, the game really wasn't that great because it was pretty much a shutout.
Yeah, that's why it was so great.
What did you think about the commercials?
I loved some of them. They're all right.
They're always. I don't know who pays for those inspiring ones. Did you see all those? Who pays for those ones that talks about unity? And there were all these beautiful, like, messaged commercials that were just on like nonstop. Every commercial break, there was some beautiful, I don't know, poignant, really deep message. Where do those come from? And I want to know who pays for them.
Yeah, we'll have to find out.
It's very interesting. There's all that talk now about people talking shit about Tom Brady and Snoop and that little commercial they did. Did you see that one?
No.
They hate us, or, did you see the one where they talk about why people hate each other? I hate you because I think you don't like me, or I hate you. You didn't see that?
No,
You're too busy hostessing.
I was hostessing and I was a bookie. So,
and I was a bookie. That's hilarious. Mike put in some bets because, he spends so much time in Vegas now.
Right.
So he was like, I put a bet in here. I put a bet in here. And we didn't win any of them, but they were small bets, but it makes it so fun to watch.
So fun.
So fun to watch.
Yeah.
Speaking of fun to watch or not so fun to watch, did you watch the Grammys?
I did a little bit.
No, I don't care so much about the Grammys itself. The real big takeaway of the night was Kanye, that lunatic Kanye, and him parading the wife out in that invisible dress, basically. That's what it was, right?
Yeah.
So the crazy thing about Kanye is that he has the gall and audacity to do a million things, but just with her specifically, he puts her in nothing, and she has that incredible body. I mean, huge boobs, and I mean, whatever. Who's not going to Google that? When they hear that Kanye brought his almost naked wife to the Grammys, everybody's going to Google it. He goes on social media the next day and makes a big fucking fuss about the fact that she's the most Googled person in the world. Well, of course, you fucking paraded her up on on the Grammy red carpet naked, dumb shit. Of course she's going to be.
Right.
Like she, became the most Googled of her own accord because of some accolade. I mean, it's the cheapest way in the world to get attention, right? To strip your clothes off and stand in front of someone.
Exactly. Then fast forward to yesterday and the Super Bowl where what did he do? He took out an ad for 30 seconds, $8 million selling clothing, and people added it. And then he took away all the clothing and he's just selling one Nazi t-shirt.
Yeah. Well, did you see the weirdo t-shirts that he was selling? The Sean John t-shirts? And with this whole thing, free puff. And people are like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You have daughters.
Wrong with you is
Something is wrong with him. I miss
He goes manic. He goes manic.
It's either like crazy or crazier. He's never, you know what I mean? Just in that sweet spot.
For years.
I mean, it's been a minute. So do you know what else I'm doing right now? Planning Carla's bachelorette party or weekend, a bachelorette party weekend, which I'm telling you, I have not been a part of anything like this in, I can't even remember how long. So now we're being faced with the age-old question, to get a stripper or not to get a stripper? I mean, what? It's hilarious because Carla is like, she's so shy and she's like, oh yeah, I don't like strippers. And I know I hate them. I run out.
But man stripper is so different than a woman. It's like, how many people are going?
I think there's going to be 10.
Okay, 10's good. 10's great.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a long time. I'll be probably like knitting inside at 6 o'clock or something.
No, you won't.
I mean, I don't know. Do we do the stripper? What do you think?
Yeah.
That's what I said. I said, I know that she's like, oh no stripper, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, she's 50 she's going to be, how old is she now?
We're 53.
She just turned 53 in December. I'm not 53 yet, and neither are you. So slow down.
Get her a cowboy.
Get her a cowboy. That's a great idea. We're going to be in Paso. Yeehaw. Yeehaw.
Get the drag queen. It'll make it fun.
A drag queen, a cowboy, a cop. She loves a man in uniform. Do you do red light therapy?
No, but I've my girlfriend that I'm here at her house, she has one of those masks and it has it. And I can't wait to ask her where it is. But I hear it's amazing, but I
I
don't.
have one of those masks too, but I want like, I want one of those like, that you step in and you sit in.
Yeah, Beverly has a friend who has the sauna with it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to get. Beverly has a friend that has, is it her parents or hers?
The parents.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
So why is it so beneficial and how does it?
Well, my inflammation has just been so bad. My eyes have been so bad, and it is really supposed to be beneficial for inflammation. So, I'll just throw anything at my inflammation.
Yeah.
It has all kinds of scientific evidence behind it. So it's like crazy for me to not try it. So if there's anybody out there who wants to send a sauna on over, we will happily talk about it. Did you hear that Craig was spotted out with Sally?
No.
Craig from Southern Charm was spotted out with Sally.
I heard he was at the Super Bowl and so was Paige. And Paige was with the guy that.
Yes. But apparently just before Craig went to the Super Bowl, he was with Sally in New York.
Really?
Yeah. And speaking of Southern Charm, did you hear that JT, your favorite little leprechaun?
Not anymore.
Oh, I'm glad we've turned a corner now.
I've turned the whole U-turn. Little fucker.
Little fucker. That's exactly what he is. Well, anyway, not only is he a little fucker, but he showed up at the reunion, at the Southern Charm reunion. Did you heard right that he made that big public statement, like, I don't know, like 6 weeks ago, and said, I pulled back, or I'm not doing the show anymore. And he said that he had, that he left it unfinished and he had no intention of going back to the show. But guess who's at the reunion? He is there. It happened. It's been filmed, and I cannot wait to watch it.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I'm not a fan anymore.
Have you heard anything happening with Jeff Lewis?
No. Oh, Jeff Lewis had Patrick and Paul. Do you know who they are? They're designers in Los Angeles.
Patrick and Paul?
Yeah, they do dresses, big, to-dos, and one of them reads Coffee Grounds, and he read Teresa's. And Teresa, he asked her.
Hold on. Was Teresa really there, or were they just putting Teresa up as a hypothetical?
No, virtual.
Oh.
People pay him a lot of money to do, or not a lot. I think it's $400.
Oh, so he was just relaying a story that he had read Teresa's grounds.
No, Teresa called in to Jeff and said.
Oh, so it was all happening.
Yeah, so she said that he asked her, do you wear your mom's jewelry? And she said, that was the day that I lost my mom's necklace and I couldn't find it. And so she found it in the jewelry cleaner, but she was on for just a second.
She found it where she left it.
Right. I thought, okay, you couldn't backtrack yourself, but yeah, so Teresa was on and that.
But he didn't give any predictions about what's happening with Jersey.
No, that wasn't.
And the fate of her future on Jersey.
Right.
That would but
who knows?
She did a podcast. Actually, Melissa spoke recently, and both of them have made kind of interesting statements. Melissa said, when someone asked her about the show, and she said, we're talking about things right now. She made a statement that was kind of like not too conclusive, but basically it sounded like the conversation has started. And then they posed the question, would you be willing to move forward with your sister-in-law? And Melissa gave a very good answer. And she says, listen, I've learned to never say never. And whatever happens, I'll be excited when that happens. And, a really not balanced, fucking logical answer. And then Teresa was on a podcast, and I heard her say, they asked her the same thing. And she goes, oh, no, that chapter with my brother and sister-in-law is closed. That's like fractured forever. Like she fully shut the door on it. And I just keep thinking, if they think that jury's still out, right? If they haven't been given contracts or given the boot, either way, then you would think that they would still kind of be posturing themselves in a position where they're
They
not
can't
going to look
act.
like they're the problem.
Right.
But Teresa just can't help herself. Oh no, that's it. Done. That's over. Never going back to that. Meanwhile, you've got Melissa over here who's workable and flexible and,
Yeah. Teresa doesn't know better.
So anyway, but Teresa says that she has heard of a bunch of people. She says a bunch of her friends are being talked to. So stuff is
In the works.
happening, and I cannot wait.
Same.
Oh, she said, what did she say to that girl? She said there was an actual statement, and I have to read it. They said Teresa Giudice is confident she'll be asked back for season 15. She says, quote, "Of course I'm going to be back." Oh my gosh, I started it. So I feel like, that there's still a lot in me. So yeah, definitely I would go back. Like, you would go back doesn't mean that you are going back, right?
Right.
She told the Bonded by Bravo podcast, "I hear it's coming soon. They have to let you know, like, what's the status like with the whole employment thing, right?" I mean, do they? I don't think they're beholden to her, that they have to give her an answer in any, like,
right.
Not like they don't have her on retainer. She's not on hold. You know what I mean? Hold me for sick. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Either way, I don't think they're going to wait too much longer, because I don't think they want to screw up, totally stop the momentum and then have to restart that train all over again. You still need people. You still need to do it before people, they can't feel that hook in their mouth anymore.
Oh, people will, yeah, but they'll take it. They'll bite.
Mary Cosby, her mother died.
Oh no. Oh,
Yeah.
the mother who was supposed to marry the grandfather first, right? Or told her to marry her grandfather.
Yeah, that whole thing. I don't even try to figure that out. But I know for sure that it is the mother who she says never told her that she loved her, never made her feel loved. Remember all that stuff?
Right. In the
And she said she felt like an orphan with her parents. So, that's got to be, it's hard enough to lose your mom, but to lose your mom when you have such a complicated dynamic.
Yeah. Oh, Mary. I love Mary.
Speaking of moms, we're not gonna recap Beverly Hills today, but we just have to talk about Sutton's mother for a second, right? What is her name?
Oh, Reba.
Reba. I'm telling you, if this is not another example of, if you want to know about the person, look at their mother.
Exactly what I thought,
right?
As soon as they were together.
I mean, it makes you have so much more empathy
For
Sutton, knowing that she was raised with that monster. And it explains so much of why she is the way she is. That doesn't mean that that's an excuse. You don't just get to be a bitch forever and look at Reba and blame her. I mean, because at some point, you got to let it go and not let that, her fucking dysfunction haunt you forever. But it is very apparent that Sutton,
doesn't fall far from her mother's tree. But yeah, wow, her mother.
Teddy Mellencamp has spoken out about her marriage. She said that she was over it long before it ended.
Oh, she was on a podcast.
Yeah, and she was talking about the fact that she was over it. It's a shame. You know what I mean? People stay in something so long, and I think they just don't know how to get out.
Right.
And then they wait until something pulls them out.
A horse trainer.
What about Lisa Rinna? Did you hear that she just announced her new podcast?
No.
She did. It's called Let's Talk About the Husband. Isn't that great? It's her and Harry Hamlin. I'm so excited about it.
Oh, he was on Watch What Happens the other night, but I haven't seen it yet.
Rinna was saying recently that she thinks that Beverly Hills is boring. And I don't think it's boring. I think the season is actually great, and I love Bose so much. But truthfully, I think the only way that show could get better is if Rinna went home to Beverly Hills where she belongs.
Of course.
God, sorry. She's
Angel.
it for me on that show.
Yeah, she's I miss her.
Speaking of mothers, actually, I got a phone call from, I'm not comparing my mother to Reba, but I did get a call from my mother today, and we were on the phone for a few minutes, and then I go, "So what's up?" And she goes, she paused for a second, and then she goes, "Oh, yeah, nothing." And she goes, "I just called to say and then before she could finish the rest of the song, she goes, "Oh, I gotta go. Your brother's texting me. I have to go get the dog. It's banging on the door." So I'm not sure if she was really calling just to say she loved me, or if she called to tell me something and she forgot, and then she just came up with that. So she
Take it.
looked like she couldn't remember. I'm not sure, but it was a first, because I don't think my mother has ever just called me to tell me that she loves me, which is specifically why I call my kids all the time just to tell them that. But funny, right?
Yeah, I love that. Good job, Cheryl.
Okay, let's talk Traitors real quick.
Oh, Traitors.
Traitors. I'm telling you something so good.
I wish it was on 7 days a week. I
wish
love
it was on 7 days a week. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Amazing. As soon as it's on, I can't talk, speak, anything.
It is one of those things that pulls your attention so much. And it's so great, right? Because it forces you to be present. And then it's one of those things, like I always say, like Bar Rescue. Do you ever watch Bar Rescue?
No.
It's one of those stupid shows where they go into a business and make it over.
Yeah.
Like once you watch the first 30 seconds of it, you're hooked. And that's the way I feel about Traitors. You know what I mean? Like as soon as it comes on, I'm like, see.
Yeah, and we can't even guess who's going home.
You can never guess.
Because it's so good. It's so crazy.
It's so all over the place. And it shifts quickly.
Yeah.
What about the fact that we lost Boston Rob?
What about the fact that these fucking traitors are against each other the whole season? It's like, what are you doing?
I mean, it's like that's some next level play.
Yeah. Danielle. I can't.
Danielle. I mean, she is too much for me. And your girl with the faces.
Carolyn. She's great. Nobody will ever suspect.
Well, that's the thing, is she's so kooky from the start that people don't even really have like a baseline for her. And then she starts getting kooky because she's just always been full kook, balls to the wall kook the whole time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I just can't believe. And who else left? It was Boston Rob and Derek. They started with Derek gone.
Yeah. So, which, I mean, two very strong players. Two very strong players. So I can't wait. I can't wait for next week.
Nobody better than Boston Rob at that round table.
He is a true master.
Yeah.
A true master. You know what else I want to talk about real quick? Did you see the video of Brandy shaking?
Yes.
So how did you interpret that? Did you think that I think I read so many comments where people thought that her shaking was like part of her sickness.
No, I thought she's standing on a thing that's...
Yes, I'm so glad you knew that, because there were so many people. I'm like, no, she's on a lymphatic machine.
Yes.
To loosen up her lymph. I thought people were like, oh, she's like, and I'm like, oh, Brandy's really in bad shape.
She really is in bad shape, though. My God, every time I see her, it's unbelievable.
I know, poor thing. She's really, really struggling. But I mean, sorry, enough stress in your body will come out of your body. You know, it's like, fuck, get me out of here.
Right.
And it'll come through your skin.
Right.
Okay, so Southern Charm. Ba-ba-doo. What do you think about this season?
It's okay. It's not that great.
You're not loving it?
No, I'm not. I like it enough. And did you see that Madison's pregnant?
Yes, I did see that Madison's pregnant. I can't even believe I skipped over that. Yes, I saw that Madison was pregnant. And how amazing is that? Speaking of pregnant, I saw Kristen the other day. She came into the salon. I had the sweetest time with her. You know, there's another one. When I used to watch Vanderpump Rules, Kristen used to drive me crazy. But I'm telling you, ever since I met Kristen a few years ago, she's just never been anything but an absolute fucking angel to me. She looks amazing, but so does that Madison. I mean, I was so happy for Madison to see that.
Me too.
Oh my God, especially after everything that they've been going through with her husband being sick like that.
Yeah.
So great.
I love
that little son of hers, I think, is so cute.
Hudson. He is the cutest. You know, growing up in the South, they're different than
They're
us.
different. They're 100% different. Those little boys, I mean,
I
he
like
is
it.
such a little stud.
Yeah, he will
I
not
love
grow
him.
up to be a Shep or an Austin.
I know. So the show starts out with Vanita fully heartbroken over that
Asshole.
quit JT.
What an asshole.
And the fact that he decides to tell her, I mean, you know what else made me laugh? What about they replayed it today when she goes, "Don't pretend that you don't want it as badly as I do." And I'm sitting there going, what? This is all too, I mean, this is like Love in the Afternoon. This is like the soaps in the 80s. Don't act like you don't want it as much as I do. I was like, okay, time out.
She really likes him.
She really freaking liked him.
And for him to show up and say that his mom said to say hello and thanks for the Mother's Day message. And did she say that she would like us to get married? Did he say? Yeah.
And then he drops that on her.
Yeah, I have a girlfriend. After he ate her branzino and let her cook dinner for him. And yeah.
After he ate her branzino, asshole. And then we have Madison with her new best friend, Austin. I mean, what hilarious, right?
Meeting for drinks and oyster shooters.
Yeah, I know. And then they give her a shitload of alcohol. And then he busts into giving her the whole lowdown about where he stands with Craig right now. And I really thought she gave him good advice.
I do too. Like, they're buddies. I love it.
I love it too. Do you remember it? There was a time not too long ago where they couldn't even be in the same room with each other.
Yeah, it flashed back to
that was Madison. Madison, you know,
always the Madison of it.
Madison thinks that if he plays hard to get, that Craig's going to come running. So
right.
Then we see Craig and his, queen bee, at least she was the queen bee back then, Paige, and they're shopping for bees. These two clearly aren't ready for kids, and apparently Craig can't have chickens in his community, so bees it is, I guess.
Right, that's right.
Hilarious. So they go out there, they do that whole bee suit situation, which I'm just not down for.
I'd like to do it.
Imagine one goes up your sleeve. Imagine one goes up your sleeve. Have you ever been, how many times have you been stung?
Well, being little, yeah, but not as an adult.
Have you not been stung as an adult?
I don't think so.
When was the last time you were stung?
Years. And a honeybee can only sting you once and then they die.
The men. Yes, the men die. Only the men.
Oh.
I love it.
Yeah.
Then the two of them start talking about their future family. And Craig says that just the thought of their future family really warms his heart. And Paige looks at him and says, listen, I'm going to be really honest with you. Sometimes you make me feel like I'm 75 years old.
I know.
And now we know exactly why things are the way they are today.
Right.
Then we see sweet Molly at a photo shoot, who I think she is so amazing. I love her so much. I think she's such a great vibe.
Beautiful.
We learn all about her journey into the modeling world. And then we pivot to Shep, who is officially and technically the object of Molly. She's into Shep.
Yeah.
She's secretly into Shep.
Yeah, she is.
Meanwhile, Shep is obsessed with his
Bahama Mama.
Bahama Mama. That's exactly right.
He is getting his karma.
He is looped out on Sienna. So he FaceTimes her. Did you see that awkward FaceTime call between the two of them?
Yeah, she is not into him at all.
It's hard to watch him. He is just like so desperado for her.
Yeah.
To like commit and be there at the same level that he's at. Right. And he's at the level, like he's talking family, future, the whole thing. I mean, no wonder she probably just reached out looking for an autograph for her grandma. Next thing you know, He's engaged to Shep Rose, at least in his mind.
Right? His dream.
And he's tripped out about it too. He's looking at into the camera going, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been this twisted up about someone.
He doesn't know it.
He doesn't even know what to do with himself.
Yep.
And then we learn that Sienna has actually agreed to host Shep and the whole gang in the Bahamas.
Yeah. And he says, well, do you have plans for us? And she's like,
I know some
Sure.
lyric. I know.
She could care less.
And at that point, you know he's got to be panicking because the energy is just not there.
I know.
And you can't, like, he's probably just sitting there thinking, he's looking at her on the phone like this with a camera over his shoulder. And he's just like, oh, yeah. That's just, you can even see he's like gritting his teeth, like, this fucking sucks.
Right. What the hell's happening?
I love it. He goes, I'm not an insecure person. I'm really not. But when you're really into someone, you can play tricks with your mind.
Yeah.
Then it's time for the gentleman's dinner over at Miss Pat's.
My favorite every year.
It's so great to have just Pat and the guys. I love it too. Austin's the first to get there. Him and Whitney go out to the veranda and Austin gives him the whole lowdown on where he stands with Craig, tells him about that lunch that he went to, where the one where Craig brought Shep as to be the buffer.
Right.
And Whitney goes, are you jealous of their relationship and the fact that they're hanging out? And he goes, no, I'm not jealous at all. I just don't like the fact that Craig is using Shep to triangulate this situation, which makes all the sense, right?
Yeah, admitted that.
Yeah, then Shep arrives, followed by Ryan with the eyebrows, the guy we really don't know anything about.
Or his boyfriend either.
Husband, I think they're married. That's
Oh, yeah.
all I know about him is that he's married to Pat's friend, the doctor.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know anything about him. I didn't even know his name. I had to look up his name.
Same.
Then Shep spills the secrets, spills Miss Pat's secrets and tells everybody that she took the rolls out for a spin.
Oh, yeah.
You remember?
She
And
shouldn't
tells
be
everybody
driving.
that he slammed the car.
Yeah, it showed it. She shouldn't be driving.
I know. Well, she said, I have officially retired from driving. Then it's time for that most amazing Napoleonic feast.
Oh.
No, Italian feast on Napoleonic China.
It was,
Holy shit.
holy shit is right.
Delicious. They're like 3 bites in, and Pat turns to Craig and goes, so how are things with Paige? And he goes, yeah, same as usual. And like 3 bites later, she goes, have you ever thought about giving her an ultimatum?
Yeah.
And he
Last
goes,
Paige.
well, yeah, no, I haven't because I really like the way things are going for us right now. And she goes, how long have you two been together? And he goes, only 2.5 years. Everyone thinks it's been a lot longer, but it hasn't.
Seems
And
a
that's
lot.
true. It hasn't.
Right. That's nothing.
But it was funny when he said, no, I like the way things are going with us. Austin, did you see Austin look at the camera and he goes, does he? Does he
Yeah.
really like the way things are going? I don't know. I don't know anything about their relationship.
know
I've never even heard they've had a fight. Then Pat says to Craig, well, you know, you guys could just keep going on like that, but it would really be interesting to see what would happen if you proposed, whether she'd accept or whether she wouldn't. And Craig goes, listen, we're going to get married, but we're going to do it when we want to. You all need to remember that I haven't even asked her yet. And I mean, that was a good point too. I mean,
For sure.
they're all asking like he's asked her 3
Yep.
times and she's turned him down, but he'd never asked.
Yeah. But he did say he got a ring.
Yeah, well, because Pat goes, well, if you don't know after 2.5 years, and he goes, listen, I know. In fact, and then he tried to like, I think, bring them into the circle of trust and say, I actually presented her with a piece of paper with diamond shapes all over them, and she chose the 2 that she liked the best.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes, so we're going to be getting married, you know, it's going to happen soon. And everybody's like, what? What did he say? And he said he's getting married soon. And he goes like, soon, but I mean soon, probably like by the end of the year.
Yeah.
You know,
Poor
Craig
Craig.
never wanted to give a straight answer, but I think he doesn't know.
No.
I think he would love to give them a straight answer. Yes, Paige and I are definitively getting married on this date, but
no, Paige has not given that to him.
right. So he says, so Austin goes, so after you propose, are you then going to tell her that you want her to move to Charleston? And then Craig comes back at him with, what's with you guys? Like, what's with the pressure? Like, is there something wrong with us living in more than one place?
Exactly.
And I mean, he's right. But you could see Austin starts to get annoyed at this point. So he excuses himself to go to the bathroom. And he was just a few feet down the hallway. And then you hear Miss Pat go, Whitney, don't do that. And then Whitney just falls back in the chair. The chair goes over and crash.
Every dinner or they break furniture.
She loses a piece of furniture. She should literally bring in like dummy furniture.
Exactly.
Then the chef arrives with that most delicious dessert. I mean, the food that night was just
there was a black truffle burrata.
I mean, the black truffle burrata, and then that mocha thing, that dessert with the whipped cream.
Yeah.
And then as everybody's stuffing their face with that whipped cream, Craig asked Shep if Sienna's excited that they're all going to be joining her in the Bahamas, right? Because she's the official host, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And Shep so sheepishly goes, yeah. And it was funny because Whitney, whose penis I'm curious about, which I know that's weird, but I feel like Whitney is really sporting such micro penis energy that I would like someone to let me know if he has an average size penis, because his ego seems to be like he has micro penis energy.
Leave it in the comments.
So there's big dick energy.
Yes.
There's micro penis energy. He is micro penis energy. So yeah, if anybody out there knows what Whitney's penis really is like, if it's micro or average or above, if someone told me that his penis was above average, I
doubt it.
It can't be. I'm sorry, that just doesn't compute. So please, we would love to know. Inquiring minds would love to know. I would. Yeah. So then Whitney with the little penis, Whitney with the micro penis asked Shep, "Are you in love with her?" And Shep goes, "Well, we've said that to each other on more than one occasion." And Austin goes, "So are you guys full on? Like you guys are fully together?" And Shep goes, "Yeah, like things are good, but honestly, we haven't seen each other in more than 6 weeks." And then Ryan with the eyebrows goes, "Well, isn't it true that sometimes you have trouble like getting a hold of her?" And poor Shep just went into full defense mode. And he's like, "Yeah, but she's a really, really busy girl and she's got a lot going on.
Big schedule. Yeah.
She a tight schedule."
Right. She can't even text back.
Exactly. And Craig goes, "Well, we're going to find her. We're strapping up and we're flying to the Bahamas." And then Pat goes, "And then what happens? What happens then?" Shep goes, in such a sweet moment, he goes, "I'm not sure, because to be honest, I'm not even really sure where I stand at the moment." And then Mr. Micropenis goes, "Well, I'll tell you exactly where you stand. You're not rich enough, you're boring, you're not famous enough, and that's just the overriding issue. Sorry."
He is drunk and jet lagged.
Oh my God. And Pat tries to make excuses for him, but nothing, it all falls flat. Then Pat retires to her boudoir, and she's not gone for 2 minutes before that very gassed up Whitney goes, "So let me get this straight. We're going to Nassau, but she has no interest in you." And Shep goes, "That's bullshit." And Whitney goes, "She reached out to me first."
Yeah.
And his dick just gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
Right.
Yeah, this Whitney used to entertain me. He used to be hilarious.
Yeah.
But it's just, he's falling flat for me.
It's his highlights are frying his brain.
I mean, honestly, and the filler.
And Botox.
I mean, isn't he's starting to look like his mother. I feel like if they walked into a room together, people would not assume that he was her son. Sorry. Then the guys go outside for cigars, and when Whitney walks away, Craig says, "It's like having dinner with your granddad. He just has absolutely no filter."
I loved it.
And then Mr. Eyebrows, Ryan goes, so Shep, how do you envision your ideal Bahamas vacation working out? And Shep goes, part of me thinks it'll be all kumbaya and we'll remember how much fun and how much we mean to each other. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. And Austin says, listen, you guys are going to have, he's trying to, because it's so obvious that Shep is just so down. And
Yeah.
Austin goes, listen, you guys are going to be in Bahamas together. So of course you're going to have a good time. And Craig goes, yeah, like it's like everybody's doing their best to give Shep the boost he needs.
Right.
And Craig goes, yeah. And then Shep just hangs his head and goes, yeah. And I mean, at this point, I'm almost crying for the guy.
I mean, Taylor's loving it.
Taylor is lapping it up. Did you see in the preview? She said something like he's getting what he has coming to him.
Karma.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's so obvious. Okay, my love. Now we're heading over to Salt Lake City with part 3, the wild part 3 of Salt Lake City. Andy goes, we're here with Britany Bateman. He opens up this episode. We're here with Britany Bateman. And she goes,
what in the God?
And Bronwyn goes, what is she doing? And I was wondering the same thing. I mean, she is too much for me. Andy tells everybody that she actually showed up in the same dress as Angie K and tries to give her some props because she was willing to let Angie wear the dress.
Right.
Honestly, after seeing that second dress that she was wearing, I probably would have fought Angie a little harder because the second Angie's dress I loved. I thought she looked amazing.
Angie always looks amazing.
Amazing. Then Angie tells everybody that the reason why Britany looks so much better is because she actually came to Lunatic Fringe and they fixed her up. And Andy asked Britany what her status with that bonehead Jared Osman is. And she says they're broken up. She says they've been broken up since June.
But then they went together to an event and she says, well, we just went as friends.
Yeah, they just went as friends. The rest of the girls were like, no, there was definitely more than that. Somebody said they saw them kissing.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, Andy goes, well, he was supposed to be here tonight. What happened to that? And she goes, the same thing as usual. Every time we get back together, he says that he's going to stop texting other girls, but he actually never does.
No. She caught him texting and deleting the texts. He's a dirty pig.
And deleting the texts.
Again, dirty pig. You already knew this.
Then Andy brings up the fact that Bronwyn went on record saying that she thinks that Britany is only into Jared at all because he's an Osmond. Bronwyn says, listen, my feeling is that he wouldn't claim you publicly. He was treating you poorly. And everything I know about Jared just sucks. He's come for all of us. He called me a treacherous little bitch on Twitter.
Horrible.
Horrible. And Heather says, well, didn't you say that he had a micro penis? Speaking of micro penises. Heather says, I would never put the word micro penis and Osmond in the same story. That's like sacrilegion for them. Then Bronwyn reads the text message that Jared sent her and Britany goes, I'm embarrassed. But, when that love bombing happens, it's just so irresistible. Like she's 12. It's like she's 12.
Yeah, that's why.
And this is like, I'm telling you, I'm really struggling with whether or not I want to see her again next season because she drives me crazy, but she is entertaining.
Yeah. Mary.
Andy says, he also said that he's the reason that you got on the show. And she goes, I know, that's another reason why we broke up. But this chapter is now 1,000% closed. Andy asks if she's in love with him. And she says she's not sure if she still is, but she definitely was. She says, I fell in love with him. It was love at first sight. Andy says, have you met Donnie and Marie? And she screams, yes. And like, girl, have a little chill.
Too much.
Like you would think if anyone had that suspicion, wouldn't you do all you could to make sure someone wasn't thinking that? Have you met Donnie and Marie?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Right.
But Whitney piped up and said that her dad actually used to be their glam squad, which
I loved it.
I know,
Oh,
so cute.
God bless her father.
I know, God bless her father. I wonder how he's doing. I mean, that's another thing. Like Whitney, I mean, that's Whitney hasn't had it easy, her Mormon childhood and everything. I don't think a lot of them, I think, have had a really have it's been hard for them.
Yeah.
That's not an easy childhood.
No.
Um, then Andy asked the group if they judged Britany over her being estranged from her daughters. And Lisa says, it's a complicated situation. Then Britany starts crying, and Angie goes, yeah, I mean, truthfully, I had a problem with it because she told me on more than one occasion that she put men in front of her daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And as mothers, we shouldn't be doing that. And then Bronwyn says, I did actually judge her incredibly hard because of it. And then Brittany starts accusing Bronwyn of being the reason why she has an estranged relationship with her daughters, which was just the most bizarre thing, came fully out of the blue, right? I mean, that was some level.
Totally.
Shit.
And Andy said when you auditioned for this show, you said your two daughters weren't speaking to you.
Exactly.
She denied it, and they roll the clip.
Yeah, exactly. And then Andy goes, "What exactly did Bronwyn say that was so bad?" And she goes, "Well, it was something as innocuous as I didn't really do Broadway." And Andy goes, "So hold on, you're telling me that Bronwyn is the reason that you're not talking to your daughters?"
Right.
And Brittany goes, "For 6 months." That she says all proudly, "For 6 months." And you're right. And that's when Andy goes, and then they played that clip and they showed it coming out of her own mouth, her saying in the audition tape that she doesn't have a relationship with her daughters.
Right.
And then you see Bronwyn looking at her going, "I've never even had a conversation with your daughter."
With your daughters. Yeah.
And I'm telling you that dingbat is delusional. She's absolutely delusional. Then things take a religious turn and we hearken back to Meredith's bat mitzvah, the day when Mary came lurking around every corner looking in the window, which I could have watched all day.
I know.
Then things turned to Brittany's hypocrisy and how she got offended by Angie bringing that wine, right? And even Heather called her out and says, listen, she's just fully being a hypocrite because she is drinking, she is having sex with Jared, and that's when
yeah,
her big breakdown. Sorry, you're right. I did lie to you. I have been having sex with Jared. And we're all just sitting here thinking, really, Einstein, thank you. Tell us something we didn't know.
Right.
Because you choose, she says that she chooses men over her daughters, but you would never choose a man that is just your friend. Would you choose a man that you're not sleeping with?
Exactly.
Come on, please.
Yeah.
Then we go to Mexico and dig up all that drama that went down. Lisa says that she was doing Bronwyn a favor by putting her in the other casita because that gave her a bigger bed.
To recover from the dog attack.
From the dog attack that was wild.
Yeah, poor thing.
And the fact that she didn't sue and she helped that guy.
She paid for his dog as well. Yeah. The guy
who left her sitting there just I don't know. That was traumatic. Every time I look at those bruises, I'm like, imagine.
Yeah.
You that's like a dramatic dog attack
totally
horrible.
Yeah.
Then the Lisa Barlow pile-on begins when Andy brings up that Lisa Barlow lunch and the fact that Whitney decided to keep her clothing tags on when she was doing her Lisa Barlow impression.
Right, because she says Lisa Barlow returns her clothes to Nordstrom, and Lisa says, "I don't shop at Nordstrom."
I know. Do you remember when we were young, like Nordstrom was like the height, like it, I mean, I didn't think it got better than Nordstrom. Nordstrom was like it.
Exactly.
That's where I got my polka dotted twister prom dress. That's where that came from.
It did look like Twister.
It was fully Twister. That was, speaking of Paul, we talked about Paul earlier. That was Paul. Paul didn't go to the prom with me that year because he was embarrassed of my Okay.
dress.
I thought it was high fashion, but it was just too much for him. Then Andy asked Bronwyn if Lisa liked to play the victim and asked her if he says, does she have a problem having empathy for others? And Bronwyn says, I'm not sure if she plays the victim, but it is clear that when something happens to Lisa, she takes it far more seriously than if it were to happen to someone else.
And
yeah, exactly. And then Lisa says, you never defended me to anybody else. And then suddenly they flash back to like 10 times throughout the season.
All the time.
Right, that Bronwyn was defending her. That's not the Lisa I know. You know, I've never had that experience with Lisa, which is the way you would want a friend to be. I mean, right? That's the only friends that you should keep in your circle, friends that have your back when you're not there.
Exactly. No, she's crazy.
Then Andy takes a hard left and says, Britany, if you were so concerned that Meredith was crying and throwing up, then why didn't you talk to her first? And Meredith says, she did. And I told her that it wasn't true. But still, she went out and spread lies about me. Britany says, I don't want to out you, Meredith, but I woke up from a dead sleep to the sound of throwing up, which is something that is very distinguishable. And Meredith says, I'm not going to allow you to tell lies about me. You're a liar, Britany. Britany says, do you think that I'm insinuating that you have an eating disorder? And Meredith goes, I don't care what you're insinuating. And honestly,
Meredith,
I could watch an enraged Meredith all day.
All day. It's great.
She's so entertaining for me.
I know.
And then the whole thing became about Britney's undercover recording that happened in the bus that day. She goes on to make 1,000 different excuses, right?
And even said, what is your excuse for
what's the real reason?
Right.
And she was still just in full denial mode.
Sounding said she was still recovering from the backlash that they gave her. She's still recovering?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. She goes, I can't believe the way you guys came at me. And to be honest, I'm still recovering. And Mary goes, okay, well, get over it, babe, because it happened and it's done. Hopefully you are too. Then Andy goes, Mary, why did it bother you that Andy chased after Britany at the Lisa Barlow lunch? You claimed Angie knew how you felt about Britany. How do you really feel about Britany? And then that wackadoo, before Mary can even respond, pipes up and says, I didn't know how you felt about me, Mary. For the record, I really liked you. I'm sorry that you didn't like me. Mary goes, I just don't think you're honest about anything. And I have enough going on in my life. I don't need another wreck. And honestly, she wasn't wrong. But what was that whole performative? Cinderella. That's exactly what it sounded like. I'm telling you, I've not heard an authentic, anything that felt real and not put on from that woman since she opened her mouth the first episode or whenever we met her.
For sure.
Right? I mean, everything has just been such a show. What's real, what's not. But I gotta say, the back and forth, watching Mary respond to her is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
So, as much as I feel like I might not want her to be there next season, the thought of
Mary and Britany of it all is enough.
The Mary and Britany of it all is fucking TV gold.
Yeah.
It really is. I know that girl she's a little bit cheap thrill. You know what I mean? I feel like I might get tired of her soon, but not yet. Oh, and then Andy goes, you felt betrayed by Angie going to comfort her. And Mary says, yeah, I did, because I felt like Angie was being fake and it made me mad. And Andy then said, I'm really so glad that even though you were mad, you guys turned towards each other and worked through that for all of us to see. And I'm telling you, every time they play back that moment, it chokes me up.
Yeah.
Because I think it's just so sweet that they were able to do that. It's like a testament to, I think we all kind of relate to it because it's that, we always
what makes you
that more.
Right. What makes you react and why?
Right. And what makes you grow is working through something instead of turning away from it, and look at where they came out on the other side. Imagine that could have so easily gone the other way, and they could get that reunion still not talking to each other.
I know. I know.
mean, and what a waste, right?
Yes.
Then Angie brings up the fact that Meredith has recently talked to Jen Shaw from prison, and Whitney says, how's that any better than me talking to Monica? You know what I mean? Everybody's worked up because she talked to Monica, but Mary backed her up. Mary goes, you guys think that that's any better? It's not. She says, Jen Shaw lied to us, and she said that she was innocent until the day, she couldn't say it anymore. She says, Meredith, she blamed you and I and said that we were the reason that she was in prison.
Yeah.
And Andy says, Meredith, you seemed really offended that Meredith said that this wasn't the friendliest group. And Meredith says, I don't think I'm cold. And Britany opens her mouth and says, but we were so nice to you that night, Mary. And Mary gives her the full psycho eyes and goes, I've known you for 2 seconds, girl. You're going to need to stop talking to me.
Yeah.
And there we go again. And I'm going to need more of that in my life. Just fine.
For sure.
I need those two next year. Sign them up. Then Andy brings up Heather's bright idea to read the worst things that they've ever said, all that shit that happened at that final dinner. And then Andy says, it was really amazing when it worked, because when it worked, it really was proof and evidence that, you can take the power out of words. And once you do that, you're able to move forward.
Right. Release it.
Yeah, exactly. But Lisa clearly couldn't get over what Whitney was trying to burn. And that accusation she made about Lisa and John and the third party and whatever.
The Whitney and Lisa fighting is just exhausting.
It's just,
they don't listen to each other.
They don't listen to each other at all. And then at one point, Whitney gets over and walks over, and they kind of have a little bit of softening, but not really. It's like, it's almost not even worth talking about, because it's just like more of the same. It's almost like sisters, same fight, different day. It won't be over anytime soon. They're all telling Lisa that she needs to burn it. And Lisa says, I don't have to burn something that was so destructive to me and the people I love. She says, this is my marriage. And Bronwyn says, well, what's the problem, Lisa? You had no problem coming after my marriage just a few minutes ago. And then Whitney screams, it's so dramatic, I want to burn this with Lisa fucking Barlow.
Cannot with that.
I know. She goes, Lisa, I could have said a million other things. I could have said you were ugly. And she gives this, horrible list of all the things she could have said.
Right.
But she chose that because it's the thing that hurt you the most. And Lisa goes, I hear horrible things about you every day. And it's hard for me to be vulnerable. And this was like when Angie made the comment to Lisa, I've learned more about Bronwyn in the last, few hours than I know about you ever.
Right.
And I feel like this little bit that Lisa gave in this episode was probably more than she's ever given us.
Right.
She said, I'm one of 6 kids, but I disappeared in my family. She says, I could have been trafficked and my parents wouldn't have even noticed.
Right. That was.
Which again, that's like Sutton's track thing. You have people are the way they are because of how they were raised. And until they unwind that ball and, start from scratch again, they're still going to be stuck in that same fucking spot. She says, I protect myself all of the time. And she's crying. She's really emotional now. I protect myself all of the time. And when you fuck with John, Jack, or Henry, you burn something that you can never get back. I've always said I have a soft spot for you, Whitney. I show you grace all the time. I'm not fake. I'm a good friend. And Bronwyn goes, no, you're not. You're not really a good friend.
Right. For her.
And then Whitney says, I just don't think it's fair that I have to take accountability for everything and she doesn't have to. And then Lisa goes, listen, through it all, I love you, Whitney. Through our whole fucked up relationship, I still have a lot of love for you. And Whitney says, I still have a lot of love and respect for you too. And then Andy wraps it up by asking about that X-rated apron, the one that Angie shoved in Heather's face.
Yep, there's nothing better than drunk shopping in Mexico.
And I gotta say, I did think it was hilarious when Heather goes, I've never felt, what'd she say? I've never felt more powerful.
Right.
And then Andy thanks Britany for joining them, and she gives them the old, like she's Miss fucking America or something.
Miss Salt Lake City.
So Britany bails, and in the final segment, Andy has the girls going around and paying compliments to each other. And that's when Dingaling, Britany, backstage, here's what's happening next. Did you see this part?
She says, why am I not out there?
Yes, I should be out there. She says, what am I doing? She's serious.
Yeah.
That's the thing is like, this chick is either a mastermind, which I don't think she is.
No.
Which means that she's just that much of a dingbat, because how
You're a friend.
anybody that says I should be out there, I want to see them. She's
a
gold.
friend of. Right.
Then Andy asked Mary to say something nice that she wants the group to know about Heather. So Mary goes on. She says something sweet and authentic. So authentic, Mary. And honestly, they all,
Every single one of them brought it.
don't you think they did?
Yeah.
And I honestly felt that they meant it. I think they all felt genuine and heartfelt.
They do. They did.
I think there's like an element. They might drive each other crazy, but they can at least find something to tether to that they like about that person, which is good.
Yes.
And so they get to the end of the circle, and Mary tells Andy that she wants him to do hers. And so Andy tells Mary that she really showed her heart this year, that she showed us what an incredible mother she is, and that she's understanding and compassionate. He said, you're funny as hell. And Mary was so moved. I mean, that was so sweet. And then Mary returned, and Mary didn't have to blow smoke up Andy's ass at this point.
No.
Because I'm pretty sure she secured her spot for next year.
For sure.
But she said the sweetest things about him.
Star.
Yeah. And then Andy passed out mugs of beer for the final toast. But before they can raise the glass, Britany says backstage into the camera again, Hey, I want someone to say nice things about me too. It's not fair.
Oh, Britany.
Oh, Britany.
Free Britany.
She has me trapped. Like, I feel like I'm trapped in some kind of weird relationship with her. I'm not sure if I want to get out. I feel like Jared Osman. I don't know how I feel about this relationship. Maybe I like you. Maybe I don't.
Right? You silly.
Maybe that's just what she inspires in people.
Right.
She's wild though. What about that New York reunion? Did you see that?
Yes.
That was pretty. That was a heavy wrap up.
Heavy. And
that was rough. But what about the pubic hair situation in Jenna?
Love her.
What I feel so like I really want to see the pubes.
Yeah.
I mean, aren't you curious?
Yes.
Have you ever seen silky straight pubes in your life?
No. No.
They said they said her pubes look like Jessel's hair.
Right.
They said literally they go as smooth and silky as Jessel's hair. And then Aaron goes, and maybe even that long.
Yeah.
I'm going to look it up.
Yeah.
As soon as we're done with this, I'm looking up long, silky pubes. Maybe they did like a reverse perm, like
right. That's what I was saying, a keratin treatment.
It's hilarious. Anyway, baby, thank you so much for being here today.
I love it.
Have you? How much longer are you there at your friends?
Till Thursday.
Oh, well, that's nice. Some alone time.
Yeah, I love it.
I love it. Soak it up, babe. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
On Instagram, Christy May's Garage.
Christy is your succulent queen, everybody. If you're into succulents, she's where you go, right? I mean, they're so beautiful. I love those. I saw that heart one you did for Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Cute. I mean, so cute.
I know.
I'm going to tell you something. I was in Trader Joe's the other day and I was looking at their succulents and I literally turned to Mike and I said, Christy's are so much better.
Nah.
True.
Well, I think it too when I go.
All right, baby. I love you. I'll talk to you next time.
Okay. Love you too.
Kiss. Mwah. Okay, everybody, that about does it for this episode of Generally Speaking. If you've been watching us on YouTube, please make sure you reach out and smash that subscribe button. If you've been listening on your favorite streaming platform, please make sure you give us a follow, leave a comment, a 5-star rating. We would love that. If you would like to collaborate or have a question you'd like answered on the pod, you can reach me at jennifer@jennifersnook.com. And if you'd like to find me on socials, you can find me on TikTok at This Is Generally Speaking or on Instagram at The Jennifer Snook. And if you'd like to get your hands on some of this adorable Generally Speaking merch, I will leave the link down below. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here. I have loved spending this time with you. Hi, Albie. Can you say hi? Oh, here's my little guy. Oh, hi. I love you. Okay, I know it's time to eat. All right, everybody, until we're together again, stay rooted in love. See you later. Oh, mama's guy.